The nanny left a birthday card on the table. The single millionaire read it and understood that her affection went far beyond work. Tomorrow began, like all the others for the past 6 years. Cold, silent, empty. Henrique Castellari opened his eyes at 5 a.m., looked at the white ceiling of his room and felt the familiar weight in his chest. Another year, another birthday he would pretend didn't exist. He got up, put on his gray sweatshirt, and went down the stairs of the penthouse in Itimbe. Each step echoed in silence. The house was 420 square meters, but it seemed like a mausoleum. The kitchen was already lit. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air. The Italian machine blinked, ready, the porcelain cup in its usual exact place. Teresa, the housekeeper, knew his routine better than he did himself. Henrique picked up the cup and brought it to his lips. That's when he saw a folded yellow card next to the Pires paper, cheap paper, the kind used for supermarket notepads. He stopped, his hand hesitated in midair. No one in the house used to mention his birthday. No one had used it in the last 6 years. Not after the accident. Not after Sophia. He slowly opened the card. The handwriting was soft, almost shy, blue ink. Some words slightly blurred, as if the ink were still fresh. I don't know what to give someone who has everything. So here's a reminder. You're still human. Happy birthday. No signature, no name. Henrique stood still for a full 10 seconds. The clock on the wall made the only sound. Tick-tock, tick-tock. His heart tightened in a way it hadn't in years. It wasn't anger, it wasn't irritation, it was something deeper, more dangerous, it was a feeling. He carefully placed the cup on the counter, picked up his cell phone and opened the security app. The house cameras recorded everything, they always recorded. He went back to the previous afternoon. Kitchen, 6 p.m., empty. 6:20 p.m. A figure entered through the side door, Mariana Tavares. The nanny. She looked around nervously, as if checking if she was alone. She pulled something from the pocket of her ripped jeans, a yellow notepad, a blue pen. She sat on the high stool by the kitchen island and began to write. She stopped, crumpled the paper, and started again. Her fingers trembled slightly. Henrique zoomed in. Her face was concentrated, her brow furrowed, her lower lip caught between her teeth. She finished writing, carefully folded the paper, looked at the card for a long moment, then stood up, walked to the counter where his cup always sat, placed the card beside her, touched the paper with her fingertips, as if blessing it. Then, she left without looking back. Henrique paused the video, staring at the frozen image of Mariana leaving the kitchen. She didn't want credit, she didn't expect a reply, she just wanted him to know that someone remembered, that someone cared. He turned off his cell phone, looked back at the card in his hand, went to the locked drawer of the desk in the living room, and turned the key he always carried in his pocket. Inside, kept as a relic, was another yellow card, worn, stained by time, the last one Sophia had made for him 6 years ago, hours before the accident. Henrique had never been able to open that card again, but now, with a trembling hand, he opened it. You work too hard, bro. Remember that love is more important than money? I love you to infinity, Sophia. Quote. A tear fell onto the old paper, then another. Henrique closed his eyes and pressed both cards against his chest. That woman, that nanny with trembling hands and an immense heart, had done what no one had managed in years. She had made him feel again. Before continuing, subscribe to the channel and comment on where you are watching us from. Your messages motivate me to bring stories like this. Henrique spent the following week doing something he had never done before. Observing, not in an invasive way, not in a controlling way, just noticing. Mariana arrived every day at 8 a.m., wearing worn white sneakers, the same jeans, 3 cotton blouses that she alternated, her brown hair tied in a simple ponytail, no makeup, no jewelry, just herself. She greeted Teresa with a hug, always a hug. She took the coffee the housekeeper offered, thanked her 3 times. Then she went up to Laura's room, and there, in that room that used to be as silent as a tomb, magic happened. Henrique watched through his tablet, sitting in his office, pretending to review contracts. Mariana entered slowly, sat on the floor next to the bed where Laura still slept. She didn't wake the girl, just stayed there folding origami, paper birds, dozens of them. When Laura opened her eyes, always frightened, always silent, she saw Mariana, and the child's face relaxed. The nanny didn't force the conversation, didn't ask questions that demanded an answer, she just sang softly, off-key, while showing the colorful birds. Laura sat down, picked up an origami, and looked at it with those big, sad eyes that broke Henrique's heart every day. Then, something incredible happened. Laura smiled slightly, shyly, but it was a real smile. Henrique had to put down his tablet. His vision blurred. In the afternoon, he arrived home earlier than usual, something he hadn't done in years. He stayed in the living room pretending to read the newspaper, but his ears were attentive to the sounds from upstairs. Laughter. He heard laughter, went upstairs quietly, and stopped at the half-open door of Laura's room. Mariana was on the floor, surrounded by building blocks. Laura was beside her, stacking pieces. The nanny was narrating an invented story about each piece being a magic castle. And then the princess said, "I don't need a prince, I'll build my own castle." Mariana made a funny voice. Laura clapped. She didn't speak, but she clapped. Henrique leaned against the hallway wall with his back to it, hand on his chest, and took a deep breath. That woman was doing in weeks what expensive therapists hadn't been able to do in a year. Later, when Mariana went downstairs to leave, Henrique was in the kitchen. She stopped, surprised to see him. Senr. Castellari. "Henrique, can you call me Henrique?" Quote. She felt uncomfortable. Laura ate well today. She even had seconds of the pasta. Quote. She smiled. Mariana blinked. Yes, twice. Henrique swallowed hard. Thank you. No need to thank me, it's my job. Quote. It's not. He looked directly at her. Caring is different from loving. You love my niece. Quote. Mariana blushed, but didn't look away. Yes, I do. Heavy silence. Good, strange, new. I need to go, she said softly. I have another job. Henrique frowned. Another job. Cleaning. 3 times a week, from 8 to 11 p.m. Quote. He was shocked. You work here from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., then you go clean for 3 hours. She shrugged as if it were obvious. My brother is in private college, partial scholarship. Someone needs to pay the difference. How old is he? Quote. 19, civil engineering. And you? How old are you? 29, Henrique did the math mentally. She raised her brother, sacrificed everything. Do you have a boyfriend, a husband? She laughed humorlessly. When? Between cleaning and babysitting. No, Mr. Henrique, I don't have time for that. She picked up her worn backpack, waved, and left. Henrique stood in the kitchen, watching the door she had gone through. Teresa entered, saw his expression. That girl has light, the housekeeper said softly. I know. She makes Miss Laura happy. I know. Makes you notice things again. Quote. Henrique looked at Teresa. The woman who had known him for 20 years smiled with tears in her eyes. Did you laugh today? Teresa continued. I heard. You laughed when Laura clapped. First time in 6 years. Quote. Henrique looked back at the door. That night he couldn't sleep. He stayed in the office researching. The university where Mariana's brother studied. Values. Tuition fees overdue, $18,000 outstanding. Threat of expulsion. Henrique could give her money, he could change her life with a snap of his fingers, but would she let him? 3 days later, Henrique made the anonymous transfer, with a fake university receipt, saying emergency scholarship reimbursed due to registration review. He thought he had been discreet. He thought no one would find out. He was wrong. The next morning, Miguel called Mariana. Henrique was in the hallway when she answered. She didn't realize he was nearby. Stop, you won't believe it. The boy's voice exploded into the phone loud enough for Henrique to hear. Miguel, calm down. What happened? The university called. They said they reviewed my registration, that I was entitled to the supplementary scholarship and they didn't know. They paid everything I owed, everything. Mari, I can come back. Quote, silence on the other end. Henrique saw Mariana's body stiffen. Her free hand clenched into a fist. Mari, are you there? What review, Miguel? Quote. Her voice came out controlled, dangerously controlled. I don't know, some kind of system error, but it's fixed. I can come back next week. Send me the receipt now. Okay, but why are you here? She hung up, stood still for 10 seconds, looking at her cell phone, then turned slowly. Henrique was leaning against the hallway wall, not trying to hide. Their eyes met. Was it you? She said. It wasn't a question, it was. Mariana walked towards him. Each step firm, controlled, she stopped 1 meter away. Why? Because I could help. I didn't ask for help. I know. Then why did you interfere in my life? Henrique took a deep breath. There was no easy answer. My sister was Miguel's age when she died. He said softly. 24. She was coming back from picking up a stupid gift for me when she crashed the car in the rain. Night. I called her telling her to forget the gift and come back. She said she was already coming back. 5 minutes later, the hospital called. Mariana blinked, the anger giving way to something else. Henrique, I would give everything I have for her to have had a second chance at life, to finish the college degree she had just started, to fulfill her dreams. He looked directly at Mariana. Miguel, she has that chance. Why not help? Because now I owe you. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. Her voice rose. Don't you understand? I spent 13 years taking care of myself. 13 years without asking anything of anyone. And now you? You, her voice broke. Tears streamed down her face. Henrique took an instinctive step forward. He stopped when she raised her hand. No, don't do that. Do what? Treat me like a charity project, like a poor thing who needs saving. I don't see you that way. Then how do you see me? The question hung in the air, heavy, dangerous. Henrique had no answer. Or he did, but he didn't know how to say it. Like someone who reminded me that I'm still human, he finally said. Mariana wiped away her tears with the back of her hand. The card. Did you know I was going to find out? No, you seemed so alone, so lost. I thought maybe you needed to hear that. I needed to. He took another step. The distance between them lessened. And if you want to repay me, keep making my niece smile. That's priceless. No money in the world can buy what you do for her. Mariana looked at him for a long moment. The anger subsided, giving way to weariness. I accept for Miguel's sake, but stop here, stop here. He agreed. She nodded, picked up her backpack, turned to go upstairs, stopped on the first step. Henrique, yes, your sister, she would be proud of you. He couldn't answer. His throat was closed. Mariana went upstairs. He stood in the hallway, hand resting on the wall, breathing deeply. Teresa appeared from the kitchen, a compassionate look on her face. She's strong, the housekeeper said. She's just like Miss Sophia was. Henrique looked at Teresa in surprise. Is that why you like her? Teresa asked gently. Because she reminds you of your sister? Henrique thought about the question. Did he think of Sophia? Did he think of Mariana? No, he said slowly. Sophia reminded me of being human. Mariana teaches me to live again. That night, for the first time in 6 years, Henrique had dinner at home. Laura was at the table, Mariana beside her, encouraging the girl to eat. And Henrique realized he wanted to be there, not out of duty, but because it finally felt like home. The phone rang at 2 a.m. Henrique woke with a start, his heart racing, and looked at the screen. Teresa answered, Mr. Henrique. It's Laura. She has a very high fever. The nurse can't control it. Quote. He was already on his feet before she finished the sentence. He ran down the stairs and entered his niece's room. The scene paralyzed him. Laura was trembling in bed, her face red, sweat soaking her blonde hair. The night nurse was trying to hold the girl to take her temperature, but Laura struggled, crying, screaming wordless sounds. 39.5, the nurse said tensely. I need to give her an antipyretic, but she won't let me. Henrique approached, trying to touch his niece's forehead. Laura pushed him with surprising force for a 4-year-old child. Her eyes were glazed, lost in fever. Laura, it's me, Uncle Henrique, he said. I'm desperate. Is everything all right? I'm here. Quote, but she didn't recognize him, she only cried, only screamed. And then something broke his heart into pieces. Mom! Laura sobbed. I want mom, I want mom. Quote, Henrique staggered back. Teresa held his arm. The nurse looked at him helplessly. Sir, I don't know what to do. If you don't give her the medicine soon, call Mariana, Teresa said softly. Call her now. Henrique picked up his cell phone with trembling hands, dialed. 3 rings. 4. Hello. Mariana's voice was sleepy, frightened. Henrique, what time is it? It's Laura, high fever, she won't stop crying, she doesn't recognize anyone. Quote, his voice came out broken. Please, please, come. I'm coming. 40 minutes of hell. Quote, Laura was crying, screaming, struggling. Henrique tried to calm her down, failing miserably. He had never felt so useless, so powerless. He had millions in the bank, but he couldn't help a 4-year-old child. The bedroom door opened. Mariana rushed in, her hair wet, still in her pajamas and sneakers, without socks. Laura, love, she said, her voice firm but soft. The girl stopped screaming. She turned her head slowly, her eyes searching. When she saw Mariana, she stretched out her little arms. Mariana crossed the room in 3 steps, picked the girl up, and pressed her against her chest. I'm here, my love. Mariana is here. I'm not going anywhere. Quote. Laura buried her face in her neck, sobbing more quietly now. Mariana sat on the bed, rocked the child, and began to sing softly. That same off-key song she always sang. Laura relaxed. Little by little, her body softened. The nurse took the opportunity to give her the medicine. This time, Laura took it without resisting, still clinging to Mariana. There, Mariana whispered. It'll pass, love, it'll pass. Quote, Henrique left the room. He couldn't stay there. He couldn't see. He sat in the hallway, his back to the wall, hands on his face. Teresa sat beside him in silence. She called her mother, Henrique said, his voice hoarse. She called her mother and I couldn't do anything. You did what you could. It wasn't enough. It's never enough. Quote, he looked at the housekeeper. Laura has everything, a beautiful room, expensive toys, and a private school, but none of that matters. She wanted her mother, and her mother died because I stopped. Quote, Teresa held his face firmly. The accident wasn't your fault. Sophia wouldn't want you to punish yourself for the rest of your life. I failed her, and now I'm failing Laura. Quote, you're not failing. You're learning. Quote, Henrique closed his eyes. Inside the room, Mariana continued singing. Her voice came through the door, soft and steady. Do you know what Laura told me yesterday? Teresa asked softly. Henrique opened his eyes. What did she call you, Mom? Softly, but she did. She called Mariana, Mom. The world stopped. Henrique felt as if the air had been ripped from his lungs. Laura, you have a mother again? Teresa continued gently, but this time Mom is here, alive, present, but she's not mine. Henrique whispered, and only then did he realize the truth of it. He wasn't afraid of failing Laura, he was afraid of losing Mariana too. The hours passed, the fever subsided. As the sun began to rise, Henrique entered the room slowly. Mariana was lying on the bed, Laura asleep in her lap. They were breathing in sync. Absolute peace. He stood in the doorway, just watching. Mariana opened her eyes, saw him there. She lowered her voice. She whispered. Thank you, he said, his voice faltering. I love this girl, Mariana said simply. I know, she loves you too. Quote, heavy pause. I think Henrique began, then stopped, unable to finish, but for the first time he felt it. She felt it wasn't just gratitude, it wasn't just respect, it was something bigger, frightening, real. Mariana looked at him for a long moment, something nameless passing between them. Then, she lowered her eyes to Laura, caressing the girl's hair. Henrique left the room silently, but something had changed that night. He had seen the truth. Laura had found a mother, and he was beginning to find something he thought had died years ago, the capacity to love again. 3 months had passed since the night of the fever. 3 months in which the whole house silently changed. Henrique started arriving home at 6 p.m. every day, without exception. Ricardo, his partner, joked about the retired CEO, but Henrique didn't care. Dinners became a tradition. Laura sat in the high chair, Mariana beside her, Henrique at the head of the table. Teresa served the food, but now she stayed to eat as well. They became family. Laura still spoke little, isolated words, but she spoke. And always to Mariana. But pasta, she would say, pointing to the plate. That's right, love, pasta, quote. Mariana clapped, proud. Henrique watched everything with a tightness in his chest. Good, painful, alive. Sundays became park days. Henrique, Mariana, and Laura. Kites, ice cream, and swings, simple things he had never done before. On that particular Sunday, Laura was chasing pigeons, laughing loudly. Henrique and Mariana sat on the bench watching. She's so different, Mariana said softly. Are you working miracles? It's not a miracle, it's just love. Henrique looked at her. The afternoon sun shone on Mariana's face, illuminating her brown eyes. She had a small, peaceful smile, beautiful. She was beautiful. How had he never noticed before? Did you go back to college? He asked. She nodded. Distance learning, pedagogy, 3 times a week, after Laura goes to sleep. She looked at him. Thank you for adjusting my schedule. I don't know who did it, Teresa said. Henrique gave a half smile. It wasn't charity this time, it was selfishness. I wanted you to stay longer. Mariana blushed, looked away. Laura needs me. See you later. It wasn't for Laura that I did this. Silence, tense, full. Laura came running back. She broke the moment. Aunt Henrique. She tugged at his trouser leg. Push. Push what? Swing. He laughed, stood up, picked up his niece. Mariana stayed on the bench, watching the two of them. For the first time in months, she let the forbidden thought in. What if? What if it wasn't just work? What if those Sunday afternoons weren't just about Laura? What if the looks Henrique gave meant something? No, she cut off the thought. Dangerous. She was the nanny. He was the billionaire boss. Different worlds, impossible. But her heart didn't care about logic. That night, back at the house, Laura was already asleep. Mariana was about to leave when she saw a light on in the room at the end of the hall. The room that was always locked. The door was ajar. She hesitated, then approached slowly. Henrique was sitting on the floor, surrounded by boxes, scattered photos, folded clothes. Women's belongings? Sorry, Mariana said softly. I didn't mean to. It's okay, come in. Quote. She entered, looked around. A girl's room, band posters, bookshelves, stuffed animals on the bed. Sophia's, she said. It wasn't a question. I've never touched them, in years. Everything is exactly as she left it. Quote. Mariana sat on the floor beside him, picked up a photo, a blonde girl laughing, hugging a younger Henrique. She was beautiful, she was. He picked up another photo. This one was from my birthday, the last one I celebrated. She was 18, she made a horrible cake that collapsed in the middle. We sang, Happy Birthday to ourselves. Quote. Mariana smiled. It seemed she was incredible. She was everything I'm not. Light-hearted, funny, she knew how to enjoy life. Quote. He looked at Mariana. She would have loved you anyway? You're everything she would have wanted for Laura, for me too. Quote. The air grew heavy again. Mariana looked away and picked up another object. An expensive men's watch, still in its box. A gift? She asked. Henrique's expression changed. Raw pain. She was looking for this. Raining. I called her, telling her to forget it, to come home. She said she was already coming back. 5 minutes later, his voice broke. Mariana dropped the watch as if it were burning. Henrique, it wasn't your fault. It was. If I hadn't mentioned the damn watch, she would have been somewhere else, doing something else. And maybe the accident would have happened anyway. Or not. You don't control the universe. What was I supposed to do? Guess? Mariana turned his face to her firmly. Do you think she would want that? Would she want you to punish yourself for the rest of your life, to stop living? She died going to get a gift for me. She died loving you. This is different. Mariana held his hands. Henrique, the person we lose doesn't want us to die together, they want us to live for two. He looked at her hands, holding his. Small, calloused from so much work, but firm, strong. My parents died when I was 16, Mariana continued softly. Fire at the market. I blamed myself for years. If I had gone to help that night, maybe I would have seen the electrical problem. Maybe, Mariana, but Miguel made me see it. He said, Mari, they wouldn't want you to die with them, they would want you to live happily. And he was right. Henrique closed his eyes. For the first time in 6 years in front of someone, he cried, not sobbed, just let the tears fall, silent, heavy. Mariana didn't say anything more, just held his hands, stayed there for 15 minutes, half an hour, it didn't matter. When he finally took a deep breath, she was still there. Thank you, he always whispered. They left the room together in the hallway, hesitated so close, hands still intertwined. Henrique looked at her, really looked and saw everything he had ignored, the strength, the beauty, the kindness. Mariana looked at him and saw the man behind the armor. Her hands slowly released, reluctantly. Good night, she said. Good night. She went down the stairs. He stayed in the hallway watching. While they were building something fragile and beautiful inside that house, the world outside was brewing a storm, and that storm had a name, consequences. The photo leaked on a Tuesday. Henrique was in a meeting when Ricardo entered without knocking, tablet in hand, tense expression. We have a problem. Henrique looked at the screen. He felt his stomach drop. It was him, Mariana, and Laura in the park. Last Sunday, Henrique pushing the swing, Mariana beside him laughing, Laura happy between the two. It looked like family, the headline, billionaire and the nanny, romance or interest. Henrique whispered. Ricardo dismissed the others from the meeting, closed the door. There are already 3 different websites reporting it. One of them is speculating that she's manipulating you. Another is making jokes about a modern Cinderella. Quote, Ricardo ran a hand through his hair. Henrique, the merger. I know, the Europeans will see this. Quote, I know. Henrique picked up his cell phone and called home. Teresa answered. Mariana's here. She's with Laura in the bedroom. Don't let her use the internet, please. I've already seen the article, sir. I'll protect her. Henrique hung up and returned to the office 2 hours later. The house was too quiet. He went upstairs and knocked on Laura's door. Mariana opened it, her face pale. She had seen it. Can I explain? He began. Explain what? That I may joke on the internet? Quote, her voice was controlled, but trembled at the edges. Mariana, financial interest, fortune hunter, opportunist. She laughed humorlessly. I don't even care. We're not. I know. But they don't care about the truth. I need to get out of this house. Quote, no, Henrique. This will hurt you. Your business, your reputation. Screw it. Quote, she blinked. What? I said, screw it. He went inside and closed the door. I don't care what they're saying, but I do. She pointed to her cell phone. They're calling me a gold digger, Henrique, saying I'm using Laura to get to you. Anyone who knows you knows that's not true. And anyone who doesn't know the whole world out there, your partners, the parents of Laura's children at school. Henrique took a deep breath. Tomorrow there's a board meeting about the merger with the European group. I'll sort it out. How? He didn't answer because he didn't know. That night, Mariana slept in Laura's room. She didn't want to leave. She was afraid of what she might find on the street. Henrique stayed up all night, reading and rereading the merger contract. Clause 14.3. C-level executives cannot maintain personal relationships with domestic employees or subordinates that compromise the corporate image of the resulting company. Millions of reais. The biggest merger in the history of Castellari Investimentos. Years of work. He looked out the office window. Outside, São Paulo shone indifferently. He opened the drawer, took out the watch Sophia had bought, the watch he had never worn. He put it on his wrist for the first time. Then he opened another compartment of the drawer, the letter, the one Sophia had written and left for him, which he had only recently read. Dude, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. Don't get stuck in the past. You deserve love. You deserve to be happy. Don't waste your life working. Live, I love you, Sophia. Quote, Henrique closed his eyes. He had built an empire to honor her memory, to prove he wasn't weak, to never again depend on anyone emotionally. But honoring Sophia wasn't about building walls, it was about living. At 6 a.m., he showered, put on his suit, and left. Ricardo was at the door of the meeting room. Are you sure? His friend asked softly. More than any decision I've ever made in my life. 12 people entered around the table. Lawyers, advisors, investors. The chairman of the board, a 60-year-old man, was direct. Henrique, we need to discuss the nanny issue. Mariana, her name is Mariana, right? Mariana. The leaked image compromises the merger. The Europeans called. Do they want guarantees? Quote, what kind of guarantees are you going to terminate? The close relationship with the employee, Henrique laughed, without humor. Terminate the close relationship as if it were a contract. Henrique, it's 800 million. I know how much it is. He slammed his hand on the table. Silence. Excuse me, I know how much it is. He exhaled deeply. You want me to choose between the merger and Mariana? We don't want to, but the Europeans demand it. She's the nanny, my niece. Aren't we dating? The photo suggests otherwise. The photo shows an afternoon in the park with a child. Henrique. The lawyer leaned in. Perception is everything. We need clarity. Either you maintain professional distance or they cancel. Henrique picked up the pen, looked at the contract in front of him. $800 million reais. He thought of Sophia. In the letter he thought of Mariana. In the yellow card, he thought of Laura, calling Mariana mother, he thought of himself. For the first time in 6 years alive. He signed not the merger contract, but the letter of resignation from the CEO position. The silence in the room was deafening. Henrique pushed the paper aside, stood up, grabbed his jacket, and without looking back, left, leaving behind $800 million and 6 years of armor. Henrique arrived home at 10 a.m. The door was open. Mariana was in the living room, suitcase at her feet. He stopped in the doorway. What are you doing? She turned, eyes red. What does it look like? Leaving. Quote, no, Henrique, I can't stay. Did you see what happened? I'm hurting you. Quote, you're not hurting anyone. The merger. I resigned. The world stopped. Quote, Mariana blinked 3 times as if she hadn't understood. You what? I resigned as CEO. I signed the letter an hour ago. Quote, she dropped the blouse she was folding. No, 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 no. Henrique, go back there now. Undo this. Quote, I won't. You built it your whole life and I almost died in the process. Quote, he took a step towards her. Mariana, I spent years dead inside, working 18 hours a day to avoid feeling, to avoid remembering, to avoid living. Henrique, you brought me back. One more step. That card, so simple, so honest. No one had seen me as human in years, only as a CEO, as a source of money, as a machine. But your job is just a job. His voice rose. You and Laura, you are life. Mariana shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I can't be the reason you lose everything. You are not the reason. You are the solution. He stopped in front of her. So close. I love you. The air left her lungs. Don't say that. Why? Because you don't really know me. Because I'm just the nanny. Why are you afraid? He said gently. She closed her eyes. I don't belong in your world, Henrique. I don't want that world. I want this one. He took her hands. I want Sundays in the park. I want dinners with Laura. I want you singing off key. I want origami in the living room. I want you. You'll regret it. Impossible. Henrique, Mariana, look at me. Quote, she opened her eyes, meeting his. Dark brown, intense, true. I love you, he repeated. Not because you take care of Laura, not because you reminded me to be human, but because when I'm near you, I want to be better, I want to truly live. I want to build something that isn't just success, but happiness. Quote. Mariana sobbed. I love you too, she whispered. For months. But what was I so afraid of? Of not being enough. Of you waking up one day and realizing that I'm just me. Quote. Henrique smiled. That rare, true smile. You're not just you, you're everything. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull back. She didn't pull back. The kiss was soft, careful, full of promise. When they separated, Mariana rested her forehead against his. And now? Now we rebuild your company together. Ricardo will take over as CEO. I'll keep the shares, but step down from management. Quote. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. And I'm going to open something new. What? An NGO for orphaned children, for young people without the resources to study. He smiled slightly. I'll call it the Sophia Institute. Mariana laughed through her tears. She would love it. She would. And I want you to work with me, not as an employee, as a partner, a pedagogical coordinator. Henrique, I haven't even finished college yet. You will. And in the meantime, there's no one better than you to take care of these children. You have what no diploma can teach. True love. She hugged him tightly, hiding her face against his chest. From upstairs, a small voice. Ma, they both looked up. Laura at the top of the stairs, holding her worn-out plush rabbit. Aunt Henrique. Henrique went up, picked up his niece. We're here, little one. But go away. The girl's eyes were worried. Mariana went up too, stroking Laura's hair. No, love, I won't. Promise? Mariana looked at Henrique. He nodded. I promise. Laura smiled and hugged them both. Family, she said the word, still difficult in her language. That's right. Henrique whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Family. Love wasn't just the kiss, it wasn't just the declaration, it was the choice every day. And on that day, Henrique chose to live, chose to feel, chose to love. And Mariana chose to believe she deserved to be loved in return. A year and a half later, Saturday morning arrived with the smell of fresh coffee and burnt pancakes. Henrique was in the kitchen of the new house, smaller than the old penthouse, but full of life. He was trying to flip a pancake, failing miserably. Let me do it, Mariana said, laughing, taking the spatula from him. I almost got it this time, love. It's black. Quote. Laura came running in barefoot, her hair messy. Daddy Henrique burned it again. Burnt it? Mariana confirmed, throwing the pancake away. Laura laughed loudly, that carefree laugh that still melted Henrique's heart every day. Daddy Henrique. She had started calling him that 6 months ago. He cried the first time. Mariana made new pancakes, perfect. She served them with honey. The three sat at the table. There was no maid serving, no expensive china. Just the three of them in a simple house in Brooklyn, eating from ordinary plates. And it was perfect. Miguel, are you coming to lunch? Henrique asked. Come and bring your new girlfriend. Or another one, he laughed. That boy never stops. Mariana rolled her eyes, but smiled. Miguel was in his final year of engineering, excited about his thesis, working at the Sophia Institute, coordinating the infrastructure. The NGO already served 120 children. Mariana had finished her pedagogy degree, took over the entire educational area, and created a personalized support program for each child. Henrique managed finances and fundraising, using his old contacts. But in a different way, not to make money, but to transform lives. Teresa came twice a week, not to work, but to visit. She said that this house had laughter, the old one had silence. Ricardo took over Castellar Investments. The merger happened, the company grew. Henrique kept 15% of the shares, received dividends, but didn't get involved. He didn't miss it. After breakfast, Laura went to play in her little room. Henrique and Mariana washed the dishes together. Nervous? He asked softly. She smiled, her hand on her still discreet belly. A little, 3 months pregnant. They found out the previous week. They hadn't told Laura yet. Quote, "Is it going to be a boy or a girl?" he asked, kissing her temple. "I don't know, I don't want to know, Sophia or Raphael." Quote, "I've decided," Mariana laughed. "I decided on my own, I've decided." Quote, he turned her around, hands on her waist. "Thank you." "Why?" "For everything. For that card, for not giving up on me, for teaching me to live again. You saved me too. You know how? You showed me that accepting help isn't weakness, that I could have big dreams too." Quote, "She ran her hand over his face and loved me when I didn't think I deserved to be loved." He kissed her slowly, deeply. "I will always love you." In the afternoon, a small ceremony at the registry office. They hadn't officially married yet. They had been living together for a year, but Henrique wanted to do it properly. A simple white dress for her, a light gray suit for him. Laura as a flower girl with flowers in her hair, Miguel as best man, Ricardo as a witness, Teresa crying in the front row. 20 people, only those who mattered. When it came time for the vows, Henrique held Mariana's hands. "I didn't believe in new beginnings," he said, his voice firm. "I thought my life had ended years ago, but you proved me wrong. You showed me that love doesn't. It's weakness, that feeling isn't failing, and that family isn't just blood, it's a choice. I choose you today, tomorrow, always." Mariana wiped away her tears. "I grew up thinking I had to be strong alone." She said needing someone was a flaw. "But you taught me that true strength is letting someone in. It's building together, it's loving without fear. I love you and I choose you every day." The simple rings, gold without diamonds, perfect. The kiss was long, applauded, full of future. A small party in the Sophia Institute's hall. Simple decoration, good food, loud music. Laura ran between the tables with other children from the institute. Happy, free. Henrique and Mariana danced closely, swaying slowly even to the fast music. "Happy?" she asked. "More than I thought possible. Do you regret leaving everything?" He looked around, Miguel laughing with his girlfriend, Teresa talking to Ricardo, Laura dancing with a boy from the institute. "I didn't leave everything," he said. "I won everything." End of the party. They went home. Laura fell asleep in the car, exhausted. Henrique carried her to her room and carefully tucked her in. Mariana adjusted the stuffed rabbit beside her. They went out onto the small balcony. Sao Paulo's sky. Few stars, but absolute peace. Mariana leaned against his chest. He hugged her from behind, his hands on her belly. "Do you think we'll be good parents?" she asked softly. "Definitely, because we're good together." Comfortable silence. Only the sounds of the city below. "That card," Henrique said, "you saved 3 lives that day, you know?" 3, Laura. "You and me too. Why did you stop just surviving? You started living." Quote, Mariana turned to face him. "I only reminded you that you were human. You did more than that." Quote, he kissed her forehead. "You taught me that living isn't just breathing, it's feeling. It's loving. It's choosing to be present every day." Quote, they went inside and turned off the lights. In Laura's room, on a small table, a new origami, a yellow sou, with a crookedly written phrase, "Family forever." And while the city slept outside, inside that small house, full of love, 3 people, soon 4, proved that new beginnings are possible, that small gestures have immense power, that true love doesn't need a palace, it only needs presence. Sometimes, all someone needs is a simple reminder. You are still human. You can still love. You can still live. And when we find someone who reminds us of that, we find home. If this story touched your heart and made you believe that small gestures have immense power to transform lives, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and share. Henrique and Mariana showed us that true wealth is not in bank accounts, but in human connections. That a yellow card written with trembling hands can save lives, that love is not weakness, it is the greatest courage. And that new beginnings are possible when we find someone who reminds us that we are still human. Also comment on which part moved you the most, what grade you would give it. Your interaction helps others. People find stories like this that show that kindness still exists in the world. We have many more exciting stories waiting for you. Click on the recommended videos on the screen and continue this journey with us. Thank you so much for watching this far, for being part of this beautiful family that has formed here on the channel. May God bless you and your family. Until the next story that will warm your heart.